Welcome back to some more Tatarigoroshi. So where we last left off, according to what happened. Oh shit, so apparently got rid of the little log. So apparently where we last left off, how should I say it? We heard some rumors and all that stuff. So let's continue reading. Silence filled the classroom. Both the cheerful voices of our classmates in the schoolyard and the voices of the cicadas sounded like they were coming from some faraway world. Phew, this is boring. The silence was broken by Mion's bitterness as she began putting the games on the desk back into the locker. Everyone just stared absently at Satoko's seat, now empty. Rika-chan, maybe you could tell us about it now? No words. Rena made as gentle a smile as she possibly could and spoke softly to Rika-chan. Even without hearing it from her, we pretty much knew the situation at this point. Satoko's uncle had broken up with his lover and come back home to Hinamizawa, and he had taken Satoko back home and forced her to do all the household work. And that all had to be pretty rough on her. Thinking this was common knowledge to everyone, I skipped to the important part. Is it really bad? Maybe Mion and Rena wanted to ask the same question. Nobody spoke. We all just stared, waiting for Rika-chan's reply. Rika-chan still didn't answer us. We were hoping for her to say no, but her silence was a bad enough sign. Last year, was it? It was like this when both her uncle and his wife were here, right? Yeah. At the time, they were mostly just being caught between their aunt and uncle fighting. One of the ways we helped out was with the club, by reducing her time at home as much as we could, but he's making her do the chores now, so she can't stay at school either. Shit. Satoko's not a slave. Who do you think you are, ignoring your own inability to live properly and basically putting Satoko under house arrest? She has school to do. I mean, what the hell? House arrest? When you think about it, isn't this really strange? We need a lot of circumstantial evidence, but isn't this abuse? Can't we notify the police or something? You're right. If we had evidence, she was being abused, I think we could tell the police. And can't we talk to the region's welfare people about this? Rena and I kept saying police, police, as though it were nothing, but Mion's response sounded like she thought we were a little naive. It's easy for you to say that. Have you thought about the risk of Ashley getting proof? What do you mean, risks? I think it was 2 winters ago. We reported it to the Child Consultation Center. We told them there was abuse happening and to do something right away. Huh? You did? What happened? A person came as soon as we called. She interviewed Satoko and Satoshi about what was going on, and then their uncle and his wife too. I can understand asking Satoko and Satoshi, but wouldn't it be not so good to talk to the aunt and uncle? They say they based their judgment on what they heard from both sides. Graded them, wasn't it? So what did they decide to do? Wait and see. What do you mean wait and see? The uncle really studied up on this stuff. By law, you can't call it abuse unless someone admits to assault or child neglect. They poked and prodded Satoko and Satoshi a lot, but it never left any real marks on them. They were pretty much eating 3 meals a day and had beds, and there weren't any recordings or something like that to prove they'd said or done anything to cause them psychological trauma. None of the villagers had ever actually seen them being violent either. No matter how mean you are, you wouldn't act so violent in front of other people. Nobody would. Then what happened? The welfare officer apparently went to visit on the same day each week for a while. The aunt and uncle knew they were being watched though, and didn't torment them in any way that would stand out. Of course, that wasn't the end of it. You mean they ramped up how malicious they were being? Mion sighed and nodded. Their aunt was really damn stubborn. She's one of the most spiteful people I've ever known. Apparently she was doing some pretty disgusting things. Satoko was like a doll that did nothing but breathe by the end of it. So what? From that conclusion, does that mean they never should have contacted child welfare in the first place? Understand? Without proof of abuse so clear anyone could see it, there's nothing we can do. In fact, it might even make the situation worse. We messed up pretty bad. After hearing that even public organizations, the one thing they thought was dependable, couldn't do anything, everyone hung their heads. In other words, until we had clear evidence of abuse, we shouldn't notify anyone? Well, I mean, basically, yeah. I considered Satoko's current situation. She was brought back to her house. It was a little difficult to call that abuse. She was being tormented and forced to do the chores. How she was being tormented would be the key, but without concrete evidence, it would be difficult to prove. If she had some kind of external injury, that would work, but as far as we could tell from today, she had nothing like that. And being forced to do the chores, that was a bit weak too. There had to be better evidence that she was, without a doubt, being abused. I know. Her uncle had ignored Satoko's existence for a whole year and went to live with his lover in town. Didn't that fall under one of the definitions of abuse that Mion had mentioned? Child neglect? Yeah, it's the perfect case of child neglect. What about that, Mion-chan? If her uncle weren't here now, it could be recognized as child neglect. But he's living with her at the moment, isn't he? They were apart before, but if he said something like he had a change of heart and decided to live with her, then they might just wait to see again. Oh, great. Once we reported it, we would need to be absolutely sure they'd interpret it as abuse. Maybe we needed far more concrete evidence, lest we repeat last year's mistake. It's sad. This means we need to sit quietly and wait for him to be violent towards Satoko-chan and leave a mark, don't we? The only plan I could think of was, in the end, just watching and waiting. It left me in shock when I realized that it would be the same policy as that of the officials who had made the situation worse. As Mion said, reporting it to a public agency would be a gamble. If we're going to pick a fight, it would have to be the one we couldn't afford to lose. If we were gambling without enough money, without enough evidence, our defeat would be assured. If we took the time to amass enough money that we could be sure of victory, then that would mean pretending we didn't see Satoko's plight for a considerable amount of time. Sorry for bringing this up now, but how is Rika-chan able to live by herself? No words. Rika-chan had lost her parents, if I recall correctly. From what I heard, she had no relatives either. She was forced to live on her own as a result, but her life was unfettered, free of restriction. If she could somehow grant that freedom to Satoko too... I mean, Rika-chan, you're living without any parents, right? Don't kids with no guardians have to go to orphanages and stuff? Keiichi-kun, that's cruel. I'm not saying it to be mean. Sure you are. Only asked because I thought maybe there would be a hint to saving Satoko. Rika-chan, sorry if I offended you. Rika-chan shook her head, not particularly disturbed. Well, you see, it's because I'm considered the mayor's daughter. Let me explain. The mayor, old man Kimiyoshi, is Rika-chan's guardian. Ah, good old Kimiyoshi. I remembered the last chapter where he got turned out missing. Kinda makes me wonder. He got official permission from the governor at the prefecture. Huh, so you're adopted. No, not adopted. You can be someone's guardian without being in the same family. Oh, I get it. Oh, god darn it. Oh, I get it. Rika-chan lives by herself, but by law, she's considered to live with the mayor, right? Yeah, basically. That's how Rika-chan avoids being sent to an orphanage. Actually, it would be child and family services, not an orphanage. Meep. I don't understand the hard things, but anyway, she's right. Interesting you should say that, Mion. you can be someone's guardian even they're in another family? Then shouldn't we have the mayor or someone else become Satoko's guardian if only on paper? Then she'd be in the same position as Rika-chan, and she could go back to her old life. Too bad it won't work. I mean, her uncle is supposedly her guardian. Wait a minute, you lost me there. What's a guardian exactly anyway? In legal terms, a guardian and a parent weren't necessarily synonyms, so whoever was actually looking after her at home would be considered her guardian. Then her uncle isn't her guardian. He left Satoko by herself for so long. But if he insists he's your guardian, then that's it. It's been a few days since Satoko was taken back to her house. Her uncle's been paying for her meals since then, right? He is sort of looking after her, so he'd probably insist. And even though he abandoned her for a year, he'd already looked after her for the whole year before that. But the mayor doesn't have that kind of history. So then, if both the main uncle and the mayor requested guardianship at the same time, the uncle would make more sense? No, but he'd have a better chance. The term guardian refers to the person actually caring for her, right? The uncle actually has a bed and food for her, but the mayor would just have his time. It wouldn't even be a contest. Then shouldn't the mayor just start caring for her for real? He'd be her guardian name in reality if he did. We just need a shelter, Satoko. That might lead to her uncle being desperate to take her back, but will stubbornly refuse him. It won't be that easy. Satoko's a growing girl, you know? It's not like giving someone a cat. You're asking him to care for a real person. What a nice comparison. And Coach? What about Coach? Coach, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, right? He even said it himself. Even if he's not her real father, Coach could become her guardian. Coach would be great at taking care of her. And now she got pissed off. Stop that. Stop thinking of Satoko like a pet. All you're doing is talking about pushing her onto someone else. You need to think more seriously about how much responsibility it is to care for another human being. Did you ask him? Did you get an actual promise from him that he takes Satoko under his care? No, I didn't. But Coach would definitely say yes. Well, fine. Even considering the 0% probability of Coach saying it was okay, then what? It still wouldn't work. He couldn't become a guardian all by himself. That's right. Coach, didn't he say it himself? He was alone, so he couldn't do it. Shit, what the hell? Why is being single such a disadvantage in this society? It can't be that bad of a disadvantage. Then all you could do is marry into a wealthy family, couldn't you? Is there anyone that wealthy in Hanamizawa? I'm not sure. See? It's not simple. It's hard to adopt someone. And you can't go into it thinking you'll push Satoko into someone else just for a little while. You're being naive, Kei-chan. Shit, damn it, what the hell? I'm desperately thinking of how to save Satoko, and all you're saying is no. Don't you care about Satoko at all? Are you even worried about our friend one bit? What do you have to say for yourself? I didn't mean that, but it just won't be that easy, and it's not that difficult a problem. We just need to have some rich people look after Satoko for a while, that's all. Right, what about your family, Mion? You always brag about how great it is being one of the... Brag about great? What a weird ass for grammar. You always brag about how great it is being one of the 3 families or whatever, don't you? From what you've said, you must live in a gigantic house. But my house? No, that won't happen. My grandma would never allow it. Then what about your relatives in Okonomiya? From what I heard, they're living in luxury themselves. There's plenty of shops your relatives manage in town, too. Your family are basically millionaires, aren't they? No, that won't work. Going to Okonomiya is even more out of the question. My father, he never let it happen, ever. Hey. Normally you act like some high and mighty bigwig, and now you're being all spineless? What the hell? Are you just gonna sit by and watch Satoko suffer? No, I don't, but... I mean, I want to help her as much as you do, but... That's a difference. That's a different story. How is it a different story? How can you be so cold-hearted? Your friend is in trouble. What are you gonna do if you don't rescue her? You're president. Our club president. Save her. Save her from this crisis. If you don't save her right now, you're not her friend. You're not even human. I don't know if you have any humanity left in you. Are you listening to me, Mion? My emotions all exploded out of me, and I didn't even give her a chance to say anything in response. I just wanted to make Mion agree with me, even if I had to force her. If she did, Satoko's problems would be solved. If pushing her would solve the issue, then I'd push her as much as I needed to. Why aren't you saying anything anymore? I'm asking you, asshole. Well, say something, Miya Sanazaki. Me? Hick. Mion, looking down with a grim face, began sobbing. Her hands were clenched into trembling fists, and she rubbed her eyes to wipe away the tears. Was what I said actually that mean? This isn't the time to cry. We're in the gambling room now, and we have to do something to save Satoko. And as I thought that, Rena spoke, her voice cold and incredibly calm. Keiichi-kun, if Michan's family won't work, then what if we look for another wealthy family? I know someone in Hinamizawa lives in a nice big house. But who's that? Oh, come on. You've got a splendid family, and you're leaving it out of things? My family? My family is... your friends, right? Save her, Keiichi-kun. Michan is cold-hearted after all. Since you are so considerate towards friends, you should lead by example. Just the three of you are living in that huge house, right? Then you've probably got plenty of spare rooms. You should just give a few of the empty ones to Satoko-chan, and then her worries would be all over. Her worries would all be over. What's this? We're done already? That was pretty quick. Okay, great. Congratulations on solving the problem. Then are we done for today? I'm going home. Hooray, hooray. Maybe I'll go treasure hunting. I haven't done that in a while. I was so worried about Satoko-chan until now that I didn't feel like going to play at all. I wonder what I'll find today. Oh. Say something, will you? Why am I the only one talking? Say something, you bastard! Are you listening, Keiichi Maibara? Even the cicadas seem to cower in fear. You know the way she acts mad right now? This is kinda creepy. Rena, her shoulders bobbing up and down, and me, who had forgotten to breathe. Mion, whose face had gone completely pale, and Rika-chan, who was keeping silent as if nothing had happened. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tight and stiff, and it petrified us where we stood. Whoa! Okay, well, that was a scary pause right there. Rattle. The sound of the chair as Rena sat back down after having stood up finally allowed everyone present to take a breath. Rena had shown me just how much I had heard Mion. Rain is scary. After a few moments, Rika-chan cut into the frozen air. Yeah, I'm sorry, Rika-chan. Mi-chan, I'm sorry to you too. I don't have to apologize to you, do I, Keiichi-kun? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being so unreasonable. Were you saying all that to me before? You said it while glaring at Mi-chan, so I totally thought you were talking to her. Rena had such strength that you wouldn't have imagined it normally. All I did was spout terrible things as a wave of violent fury passed over me. I couldn't contend with her. Man, I'm sorry. I lost my cool. Come to think of it, I didn't understand what had gotten me that riled up. I thought of myself as Satoko's Nini. Well, that could be one of the reasons there. So I only had good intentions, that I'd think about it a little harder than everyone else, and yet... It's okay. You were worrying with everything you had, but all I was saying was that nothing would work. So I'm sorry. I did something wrong too. Mion rubbed away the tears at the corners of her eyes with her fists and apologized as well. We bowed our heads to each other and looked down without glancing at the other. Someone I don't know who heaved a sigh. Satoko being tormented had been known about since last year. How had the tragedy back then saved Satoko? How had they brought it to an end? Right. In the end, nobody could do anything. All they could do was bear it patiently and wait for those agonizing days to end. That's right. The one who brought an end to those terrible days was some crazy drug addict nobody knew. On the night of Watanagashi last year, their mean ants had been beaten to death, but it hadn't been done to save Satoko or Satoshi. Right. It really was just a coincidence. Satoko's friends, who needed to do something for her most of all, could do nothing. The incident may have been a tragic one, but from Satoko's viewpoint, it was nothing less than a miracle. Yes, a miracle. A miracle one could only wait for, and to pray upon, of course. Is waiting all we can do? Not for evidence of abuse, not for something that minor. Huh? Wait, for what? A miracle. No one made fun of me for using such a crazy word. We couldn't come up with any solutions, so it was the only thing we could do. We're powerless. That one word Mion dropped was the finishing blow. It was hot. My body was sticky with sweat. The worst month, June. Good old, June. It's funny because usually around not late, mid to late June, it usually picks up the heat. I walked forward quite a ways, then turned right where the rice fields ended. I never come here before, so I had no idea where to go. I got lost several times, so I may have taken quite a long way around. Maybe I should have gone back home and gotten my bike first. It would have made everyone else worry if I had asked them, so I asked one of our other classmates where Satoko's actual house was. That house was originally her family's, apparently not their uncle and his wife's. Their house had been bigger, so they had taken it from themselves. Right here. Several houses all in a line. Over there? I was visiting Satoko's house, but didn't particularly intend to meet her there. I didn't mean to spy on the enemy, her mean uncle either. Maybe I just wanted to be a little closer to her as her Nini. Pretty words, but I didn't know if they were true. If what Tomita-kun and the others told me was right, it'll be this house? When I recognized it, my feet grew heavy. What did I come here for? My motive for coming here was absurd. When Mion had said at the end that we were powerless, it made me sort of frustrated. I could feel the same. I just wanted to do something, anything other than waste the days away praying for a miracle. That's what made me come here. But that was all. Even if I were to witness her uncle actually tormenting Satoko, what could I do? Would I act like a comic book hero, punch the guy in the face and take Satoko away with me? Oh, no, that would be too easy for a story like that. And then live together somewhere far away? That was ridiculous. I'm powerless. The cicadas' voices raised in chorus sounded like they were scoffing at me. Oh boy. Wow, I just laugh at the comic book hero part. Punch him in the face. Would you go for the low road or the high road? As though they were saying that if I couldn't do anything and wouldn't do anything, then I should go back home. I heard a car approaching, so I got out of its way. But the car stopped right behind me, its horn honking shortly once. Annoyed. Hadn't I gotten out of their way? I looked behind me, and a familiar face was looking at me out of the driver's seat window. Coach! Hello, my Bara-san. How unexpected to meet you all the way out here. Do you live nearby? Me being here wasn't normal, just as I considered somehow giving him the slip. I noticed Satoko sitting in the passenger seat. Satoko? Satoko got out of the car and began unloading a lot of groceries from the trunk. I happened to run into Coach on my way back from shopping. He said he'd bring me home, so I accepted his offer. She wouldn't have been able to carry all those groceries on her bike. As Coach spoke, he pulled Satoko's bike from out of the back seat where they put it. Well, that's a big car then. The grocery bags were big, and there were 4 of them. They all seemed to be packed full and very heavy. Those bags. 7's Mart? Hey, isn't that a little far to go by bicycle? I looked at the bags and saw that they were filled to the brim with sake bottles, snacks that you'd eat with sake, and boxes of cigarettes. Their weight was one thing, but their contents were nothing less than luxury items. I made it thanks to Coach. He helped me out. It was a little difficult going up those hills. Satoko gave Coach a smile filled with gratitude, but it was incredibly awkward and even heart-rending. Satoko, these groceries aren't for dinner tonight, are they? Of course not. I do not drink sake and I hate snacks. Of course I don't smoke either. Well, no shit. Why in the hell would you smoke shitty stuff like that? He made Satoko go to a distant store by herself on her bike, so she could buy dumb shit like this. And what was the uncle doing right now anyway? He must have been working up a good sweat at this very moment if he needed to send Satoko out by herself, right? If not, then how much had Satoko suffered for no reason? I hadn't intended to voice my feelings, but they may have made it into my face. Coach might have noticed because he clapped me on the shoulder. Just then, one of the house windows clattered open, and the face of a vulgar man, the very sight of which made me immediately avert my eyes, emerged from within it. There were no self-introductions necessary. My gut told me that this was the uncle in question. The first thing out of his mouth should have been words of gratitude for Satoko. Satoko, you left the heat for the sake on when you left, you half-wit. I'm sorry, but you told me to go right away. You idiot. All that brewing I did for nothing. Idiot. I'm sorry. Satoko miserably apologized over and over, bowing again and again. She could be perfectly described as a small animal. I had no idea what was happening. Satoko finished shopping for all this heavy stuff that wasn't even for dinner. She only managed to come back because she ran into Coach and he drove her home. If she hadn't been found by him, she'd surely still be by herself, panting and moaning, pedaling her bicycle up that steep hill. What was with those words, those horrible, sleazy words that he said to Satoko? In what country's dictionary did it tell him to say such things to a young girl who just finished shopping? My anger, of course, wouldn't reach him. The uncle displayed no interest in me. Instead, shouting at Coach, "Oh, if it isn't Dr. Irie! Hello. Why don't you come on inside too? We're in the last round, so you can get in right away. 100 yen per 1,000 points, and anything goes." No. I'll pass, thank you. I just ran into Satoko-chan and gave her a lift is all. I'll be leaving now. Aw, nah, come play around. You got a lot of money, yeah? I didn't even understand what her uncle and Coach were talking about. But I knew one thing for sure, none of what he just said had been to thank Satoko in any way. I assume Coach doesn't even like her uncle. Feels like Coach wants to beat the shit out of him. In which I hope. Just look at his face. And anyway, Satoko, could you bring us the damn snacks? And start getting those beers chilled too. Go get us some cold ones from the fridge.
Take-chan, you're so harsh on her. She looks so sad. You should take better care of her. This is how I gotta treat her. She's been like this since she was with my bro. Spoil her and she ain't gonna listen to a damn thing you say. Shit. Whatever, it's your draw, Tech-chan. Tsubaki-san declared Riichi too. Sorry. What? You and Riichi again, Tsubaki? It looked like it wasn't just her uncle. Some of his friends were over. Oh boy. Hey, wait. What were they doing? Flinging rude words left and right, making Satoko go shopping for your beer. What were they doing? My uncle's friends came from town and they're playing mahjong. He told me to prepare dinner for them as well. What the hell? Mahjong? He called his friends over for mahjong? They were too busy playing, so they sent Satoko to buy them a crapload of booze from a faraway store, and the first thing he said to her was how she left the gas on? What the hell? What does that guy think he's doing? Who could get lost in some dumb game of mahjong and send Satoko to buy all this stuff? Even though Coach was listening, he pretended he wasn't. Well, great, ain't that a bitch? There was a line of heavy-looking shopping bags lined up on the ground next to the trunk. Maibara-san, you help too, please. You're a boy. You get to carry this heavy one. Coach, you're gonna let this slide? This is completely... Coach pretended he hadn't heard that violent outburst either. When I thought about it later, his reaction might have been the best thing he could do in that situation. I'll carry two of them myself. Come on, help us carry them, please. The bags were packed to the brim with bottles of sake and bar snacks. They were so heavy, and so filthy, so unfair. They weren't just heavy in terms of weight, they made me feel mortified. Nothing could have been heavier than that. Keiichi-san, there's no need to push yourself. I'll carry it. Satoko mistook my biting back the humiliation as grimacing under the weight, and offered to help. Well, she misinterpreted that. Well, great. Ain't this something right there? This is so frustrating. You can't carry that heavy shit yourself. Offered to help. Stupid. Don't underestimate me. Satoko had never looked down on my physical strength in the slightest. Grr. Coach, I'm sorry for you too. It must be heavy. No, not at all, answered Coach, smiling vaguely. Coolly. But I, and I alone, knew. Coach was an adult, so he just knew how to keep his feelings from showing. There was even more anger than I was feeling, burning deep in his eyes. Well, it is heavy. Good. Shit. Wasn't very far to the doorstep of Satoko's house, but the bag squeezed my palms and started leaving red marks. Gah. Fury welled up in me and the back of my throat stung. But even if it all came gushing out, it wouldn't solve anything. So, just tightly gritting my teeth was as much as I could do. Man, this guy's Keiichi's is all pissed off already. Much as I could do. Really, thank you so much. Both of you. You really helped me here. After we carried them to the back door, Satoko said that was enough. Occasionally we'd hear the repulsive laughing of her uncle and her friends from within, and my insides would seethe. I knew they weren't ridiculing us, and that was why it made me so mad. They'd made Satoko shop for all this heavy, selfish stuff, then ignored her and laughed amongst themselves as they pleased. It was deeply aggravating. Of course, Of course, Coach had to have felt the same way, but if he accidentally let his feelings slip onto his face, he'd only cause Satoko more worry. He knew all that and spoke coolly, as if to say he didn't care. No, not at all. I'm happy I could be a bit of help for you. If there's anything else I can help with, please tell me. Yes, I really am happy you feel that way. I don't. Keiichi looks like he wants to beat the shit out of her uncle. And the uncle's buddies. Oh, my fucking god. Yeah, I really am happy, blah blah blah. That he feels that way. Those words were sad. Satoko herself was sad and resigned that we could only help her so much. But she was right. No matter how much Coach or I want to help Satoko, this was as much as we could do. I felt absolutely ashamed at not having the power to help her any more than this. Burning, boiling emotions were bubbling up within me and rising to my throat. Trembling all over, I almost started to cry from my fury. Me too. If there's anything I can do, I'll help you wherever you need. So, hang in there. I wanted to at least give her those trite words, saying that I'd help her whenever she wanted. Yes, thank you very much. I'm happy just that you came all the way here when you didn't need to. Satoko seemed to have guessed what I was doing in a place like this when my house was in the opposite direction from school. Alright, you should get going. They're drunk right now, so there's no telling what they'll get mad at you for. She felt guilty getting us involved after we'd help her, because she wanted to be the only one to suffer this misfortune. That's how it looked, and it hurt. I handed my supermarket bag over to Satoko, and then I noticed on the back of Satoko's hand there was something that looked like a bruise. Hey Satoko, what the heck is that bruise? I knew as much as anyone else how transparent that sounded. I didn't need to hear it from Satoko to know how this bruise came to be. I just slipped on the stairs and hit it a little. Please, pay it no mind. You're lying. Coach nudged me in the back, and then he put his index finger to his mouth to chide me for being so loud. Really, thank you so much. Until tomorrow. I hope we can see each other at school. That's not what I'm talking about. I asked you how you got that bruise on your fucking hand. The evening glow finally got to a point where I could see the other concealed oval-shaped bruises and traces of swelling on her neck and her legs, and other places too. I fell down the stairs. Oh. The very moment my violent, rampaging emotions were about to burst their way out of my throat, I found my mouth being tightly clamped down on. Coach was pressing down on my mouth from behind, wrapping around me tightly with his hands. Because of that, I couldn't say anything. I could only groan, which I did. That was all I could do. I needed to expel all the magmas sitting deep within me, because otherwise I'd surely explode into a million pieces that very moment. So I groaned from my mouth, from my whole body, while heat fell in drops from my eyes. I groaned and groaned. I groaned to the point of exhaustion. I wrung absolutely everything out of myself. Even having lost my voice, I was still wringing it all out. I understand how you feel, I really do, my brother-san. Please just endure it for now. Please, I'm asking you, my brother-san. Endure it for now? And even what, huh? What would happen to her, to Satoko? Her body and mind were wounded, and she was being made to suffer like this. Can you not even let me howl in vain at it? Is that it, Coach? Are we this powerless? So powerless that we can't even fucking scream from the bottom of our hearts? Like, holy shit. The voices of the Higurashi made me calm down. I didn't know how long it had been. Satoko abruptly gave a slight bow. Thank you very much, Keiichi-san. Satoko. You looked a lot like my real Nini just now. My real Nini may not be here anymore, but I have another Nini named Keiichi-san. Yeah, you got it. I'm your Nini. And when you're in pain, I'll help you no matter what. Your Nini. We'll rescue you one day for sure. Satoshi Hojo, you fucking idiot. If not now, then when? Satoko, she's never been in more pain in her life. If her Nini doesn't save her now, then when will he? Why did you run away? Why did you abandon her? Why did you have to leave Satoko behind? You don't have any right to call yourself Satoko's Nini. I won't run away. Huh? I definitely won't run away. I won't run away and abandon you like Satoshi did. No way. I will not abandon you. Slip. Tears trickled down from Satoko's eyes. And then she narrowed her eyes into a smile. Goodbye, Nini. Satoko took her right hand and awkwardly waved to me. I'll be alright. My Nini now helped me so much. So I'll be okay. I'll do my best until tomorrow. I'll be okay. So, for today, this is goodbye. There was no way that I could say bye, see you tomorrow. And then from inside the house came a throaty, disgusting voice. Satoko, could you bring us the snacks already? Okay, Nini. Get going already. I'll be fine now. Hurry. Let's go, my brother-san. Staying any longer than this would be a bother to Satoko-chan. Coach, Nini's house is a little far away. I'm sorry to ask you this, but could you take him home? Yes, I'll do that. Coach grabbed me by my collar and with strength I couldn't have imagined him having, started dragging me away. And I, unable to oppose him, started getting farther away from Satoko. She waved her hand to us, expression still dark, and disappeared through the back door. Well, I had enough of this. It's like, you know, this very moments when it comes to fucking child abuse and all this shit. And like when I asked this one kid, I don't know if it's like a real story now. So the moment this shit happened, you know what? I asked this one fucking kid, and he was like, how the fuck did you get the bruise on your fucking leg? I fell down the stairs. I was like, nigga, stop fucking lying. I'm pretty sure you got some fucking bullshit on. Pretty sure you got some fucking abuse from this bullshit, like this one fucking YouTuber that was controversial, for example. Like, what kind of bullshit turnaround was that? Maybe it's just trying to hide the fact that they're trying to make it. They're trying to mask the fact that they're not really abused, but make it look like an accident. To trying to make sure they don't want to hide any more trouble. So, well, whatever shit happens, it is always serious situations like that. I was like, holy fuck, why do I have to witness all this? I deal with bullshit all the time, but fuck. So anyway, I'm gonna end this here. So next part, we're gonna go. Anyway, we're gonna see what happens next when Keiichi gets a ride home. So like, comment, and subscribe, and see you guys later. Have a good one.